My name is Frederik Obermaier. I'm a senior reporter at the investigative department of Süddeutsche Zeitung. Süddeutsche Zeitung is a broadsheet in Munich, based in Munich, and I'm working with Bastian on investigative stories already since 2013. We started with investigations like offshore leaks and Luxembourg leaks, and then one day Bastian called me like, we have to meet. There's somebody approached me with a very interesting documents, and we then met in a Greek taverna, and he told me about his first contact of John Doe, and we immediately started working, and in the end we ended up with 2.6 terabyte of data coming from John Doe, but later become known as being the Panama Papers.
My name is Bastian Obermayer. I work for Süddeutsche Zeitung as head of investigations, and the leak was leaked to my colleague Frederik and me. Well, I've been working for Süddeutsche Zeitung now since 17 years, and I really I wanted to become a journalist since I was 14. So it was kind of clear. I always wanted to become a football journalist, but it didn't work out, so I ended here. The most interesting for me personally was how many heads of states we found in the data, given that Mossack Fonseca is only one of many of those providers. So there must be a lot of those data and those stories still out there.
The most important thing in regards to the Panama Papers was that hiding money laundering and tax evasion is not limited to a special part of the world. It's not only a developed world problem, nor only an undeveloped world problem. It's a global problem, and it affects all of us, because the victims, that's all of us. The victims, and that's what we also have to keep in mind. Hidden money, laundered money is used to finance wars. It's money coming from illegal proceedings. And that is why it's so important that the world learned about what is going on in this parallel world, the secrecy world. Yeah. Bastian Obermayer and me wrote a book about the Panama Papers, where we basically started with the first point in contact, when John Doe approached us asking if we were interested in data. And we then described how the whole investigation started, what we found, and what's the backstory is. How we basically made this a worldwide project, a collaborative project with hundreds of reporters being part of it, hundreds of reporters keeping the secret, and in the end finally publishing simultaneously.
Well, we wrote the book after we realized in the summer 2015, or we started to write it, that something very exceptional is happening to us, and we wanted to keep that for us. And also we tried to write the book to make more sense of the whole thing. And in our articles, we always have to be quite short and direct. And the book is the chance to create a narrative and to tell it with more time and space.
I think technology can help us a lot dealing with big amounts of data, either be it leaks or data that experts in the financial sector gathered to basically to analyze it. It can help to narrow down where we have to look like, but in the end, I think it is a matter of the human sense, the gut feeling that helps us most.
Well, fake news impacts our society way more than we would wish for, because so one part of the problem is that there is fake news, that there is news that's not true, that just one party wants to have out there to smear the other parties or a certain thing going on in our society. And then it's a problem because a lot of populist politicians are now trying to put the fake news sticker on authentic news and on news organizations like the New York Times, like Donald Trump in the US. So I think it's a big problem and we have to fight it. And for us, we try to fight it with really good investigative journalism and more transparency. Well, it's hard to say that in general. It's always a case-by-case decision. You can't be as transparent as you wish if you have to protect your source, for example. But always, so for readers, I would always recommend to have to not only stick to one source, but to read in different sources, to read about the same thing that's going on. Or, for example, on the website of the New York Times or the Washington Post and the third outlet, and you have to see which media you trust, and I think that's something we have to work on to make that trust possible.
In my experience, the best recipe to fight stress and challenges on the way to basically publishing the Panama Papers was to have a colleague, working with a colleague with whom you can share all your ideas, your fears, where you can discuss everything without fear of repercussions, because the more you talk things through, the better it helps you, not only like in regards to the investigation, but also in regards to your feeling and your stress level.
Well, for the stress and pressure, I try to spend time with my family. I do sport. I try to find things to unload my head. And as a German journalist, I don't think that I'm particularly at risk. But since the case of Daphne Caruana Galizia and Jan Kuciak, we cannot ignore any longer that there's risk somewhere. So it's not riskless. But I try to do some basic precautions and then just keep it away from me, and that works really well because in Germany, I think our security is still way better than the security of many colleagues around the world. I think whoever is working to find things that are against the law or against our morals or against certain rules, and whoever is fighting financial crime is helping to make this part of our society a little bit better. And so things like this conference where you all can connect to fight this fight in a better way and in a more effective way is a good thing.
I think when it comes to fighting money laundering, collaboration is key. And meeting at conferences like this or other conferences always helps to establish trust and establish relationships to other experts in the field. And normally, at least when it comes to journalism, as soon as you have left such a conference, you already are in contact with half a dozen or dozens other journalists that work in the same field, where you can pitch ideas with them, exchange ideas, and profit from their expertise.